Hello friends, welcome. This is Sagar Birde. We are dealing with electrical drives. Today we'll start with the measurement of moment of inertia. If the dimensions and the weights of various parts of motor load system are known, it is very easy to calculate the moment of inertia. Also, it can be measured experimentally by conducting retardation test. So in retardation test, the drive is made run at a speed which is little bit higher than rated speed. Then the supply is cut off. Due to the kinetic energy stored in the drive, it continues to run and decelerates due to the rotational mechanical losses. At this time, the variation of speed with time is recorded. At any speed, that is say omega m, the power P consumed to supply the rotational losses is given by the rate of change of kinetic energy. That is, it is shown in the equation here, d by dt of 1 by 2 j omega m square, that is half k e square, or you can write it as j omega m d omega m by dt. From this retardation test, the d omega m by dt at rated speed is calculated. Now this drive is reconnected to supply and again it is made to run at rated speed. During this time, rotational mechanical power input to the drive is calculated. Now this is approximately equal to P, whatever we have calculated earlier. Now using the previous equation, this one, the J can be calculated. J stands for the moment of inertia. But we encounter one problem with this test, and the problem is, in this method the mechanical losses which are rotational in nature cannot be accurately measured because of the core losses and rotational mechanical losses cannot be separated. So this is the main problem of this retardation test, calculation of moment of inertia using retardation test. So what is the alternative? So the moment of inertia can be determined more accurately by obtaining the speed time curve from the retardation test. So whatever we have conducted the retardation test, we will draw the speed time curve out of it. And also rotational losses versus speed plot is drawn, which is, it is shown in figure here. Now using these two plots, the rotational losses versus time plot can be obtained. So first we have drawn the P versus speed versus power, then speed versus time, then the power losses versus time. These three are drawn. Say at a time t1, at this point, at a time t1, say omega 1 is omega m1 is found from the retardation test. Okay, then for this speed, what are the rotational losses? And these are obtained using the plot. You can see here at t1 it is the omega m1, and at omega m1, that is p1 is written here. Now this plot, that is rotational loss versus speed and plotted against t1, this is the nothing but the area p1 and omega m1. Now area A, this area A is enclosed between rotational loss versus t plot, rotational loss versus t plot, and the time axis is the kinetic energy dissipated during the retardation test. That is nothing but the shaded area. Now, if we consider the initial speed of the drive during the retardation test was omega m naught, then the area A will be given by half j m naught, sorry, j omega m naught square. Now, as this area A can be calculated by integrating this, it is very easy to calculate the moment of inertia J. In the next part, we will start with the components of load torque. Now, the load torque, the TL, can be divided into these following torques, namely the friction torque, windage torque, and torque required to do useful mechanical work. We will see them one by one. First, the friction torque, it is indicated by Tf. As we know, the friction is nothing but force resisting relative motion, and this friction will be present at the motor shaft and also in various parts of the load. Tf is equivalent value of various friction torques referred to the motor shaft. Second is windage torque, indicated by Tw. Say when motor runs, the wind generates a torque which opposes the motion. This is known as windage torque. And the next is the torque required to do some useful mechanical work. It is indicated by TL. The nature of this torque depends on the application where it is used. It may be the constant and independent of speed. It may be some function of speed. It may depend on the position or path followed by the load. It may be time invariant or time variant. It may vary cyclically, and its nature may also change with the load's mode of operation. It purely depends on where it is applied. Next, if we discuss the nature and classification of load torques, there are various classifications are made. So, the nature of load torque depends on the particular application, as we discussed previously. Say for example, a low speed hoist. It is an example where the torque is constant and it is independent of speed. Here at low speeds, the windage torque is negligible. Further, the fans, compressors, aeroplanes, centrifugal pumps, then coilers, traction, etc. are examples of cases where load torque is a function of speed. In a fan, compressor and aeroplanes, the windage torque dominates, which leads to the load torque is proportional to the square of the speed. Now, the windage is opposition offered by air to the motion. We know this. Then, similar nature of load torque can be expected when the motion is opposed by any other fluid. That is, example for it is by water in centrifugal pumps. So, as the wind is opposing the motion, similarly the liquid is also opposing the motion in examples like centrifugal pumps or say the ship propellers. Similarly, in a high speed hoist, the viscous friction and windage also have the appreciable magnitude. So already the gravity is acting. In addition to that, these all, that viscous friction and windage, are added here. If we study the speed torque characteristics of the traction load when it is moving on a leveled ground, because of its mass, say its high mass, heavy mass, the stiction is large. Now what is the stiction? The stiction is the friction which tends to prevent stationary surfaces from being set in motion. So it is not allowing the machinery to run or to undergo any motion. So at in traction we are discussing, so near zero speed the net torque is mainly due to the stiction. Okay, and this stiction disappears at a finite speed, and then windage and viscous friction dominates. Okay, because of the large stiction and need for accelerating a heavy mass, the motor torque which is required at the time of starting a train is much larger than what is required to run it at a full speed. So we need to consider all these things to choose the drive for a particular application. The various load torques can be broadly classified into two categories. One is active load and passive load. Load torque which have the potential to drive the motor under equilibrium condition are called as active load torques. Now what is this equilibrium condition? It is a state in which opposing forces and influences are balanced. So example for it is the torques due to gravitational force, tension, compression and torsion. So you can note here these load torques usually retain their sign. So say for example when the direction of drive rotation changes, still that the sign remains same in these type of load torques. Second one, the load torques which always oppose the motion and change their sign on the reversal of motion are called passive load torques. The examples of such load torques are due to friction, windage, cutting, etc. In the next session, we will be discussing about the calculation of time and energy loss during the transient operations, and then we will be discussing about the steady state stability of an electrical drive. Thank you.